Hello again and welcome back everybody to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC and we are going to finish up. Now, these series of videos was kind of inspired by Viking preparedness. PJ did a really good job. I don't want to take anything away, take any credit or anything. He put out an amazing video. He puts out really good content anyway. But he did one where he spoke of the four things that is most likely to take pretty much everybody out if an SHTF event was going to happen. Now we went through and did four videos talking pretty much at great length on each one of those, and I'm going to throw in a fifth. And while arguably my fifth, which is the wild card, can mostly be probably picked apart and put into one of those other videos, I still want to give this one out there. And so my spinoff on the wild card is just that. It's the things that just pop up that you did not plan on. And the first one is failure. You may have uh, all sorts of different things in your repertoire or your supply closet or whatever, but we have to remember, and this is one of the things I love to say, is anything man-made can and will go bad at some point in time. And because of that, you may have that trusted blade that you've been carrying for years. It is tried and true, and you love it to death, and it has done so much work and really great things. And in your hands, it is a very valuable tool. It's an asset. It's one of the things that you count on and need. It's got you out of a lot of troubles and various things like that. But maybe there's a flaw in that blade. And this time around, that one too many whacks with it, or you sharpened it, or whatever, and all of a sudden that breaking point has now been exposed. That failure, that crack, that imperfection has now come to the surface, and now that blade is no more. Now, most of you will have the kind of one of the golden rules of prepping, which is two is one and one is none, and you'll have a backup blade and you'll be just fine. Some people, though, they won't. This is the blade. This is one that I've had for years, and this is all the blade that I need. And they'll get into that false sense of security. But it's just more than your supplies. Okay. Uh, yes, you can have things like a firearm, or you can have different other various supplies, gear, gadget, things like that, but failure is always there. It's always looming in the background. And you never know what it is that's going to break, what's going to malfunction. And it's one of those that, you don't plan on some of this stuff going bad or failing you in your time of need. And, some of you probably are well aware of this and you've planned for it. You have various backup plans and different backup supplies and different items, and you're good with it. Some of you need to be reminded of this, and some of you're hearing this for the first time. But it goes beyond that. What about your structure? Most of us take things for granted every single day. And we've talked about this. If you've watched me for any length of time, you're probably sitting down right now. Before you sat down, did you check out that chair or that couch or whatever it is? Did you push on it? Did you check each bolt and nut, fasten point, weld, whatever it is, make sure that it's still good? Yeah, you've sat on it, many times, but this might be the time that it fails. Did you check it? No, you didn't. Okay, I guarantee 100% of you did not check it. And guess what? Most of the time, we don't. Okay, it's routine. You just plop down on it because it held you last time, it held you for hundreds of other times. There's no difference. It's going to hold you this time. But that's in that false sense of security. What about your front steps? You take that for granted a lot. What happens if it's an SHTF situation and you grabbing some supplies and whatever, and you're gonna go out for the morning hunt, maybe check a few of the traps, check on the animals or whatnot as you go out to your favorite hunting spot. When's the last time that you did maintenance to your front steps? Well, how about this time you walk out and you hit that first step and it caves? Now you have a medical emergency on your hands, or potentially, right? You may have some sort of deep bruise. You may have some sort of a scrape or a cut. Maybe you have an actual puncture wound. How does that change your entire day? That's a wild card. You didn't plan on that happen. Who would? And yeah, you can throw that into the medical category. I get it. But it's one of those wild card events that's going to throw it into the medical card. There's a lot of people that's not planning on something like that happening. And we have a plan of action for the day. My food is, kind of running a little low. It's time for me in the morning when I wake up to go out and do what I can to replenish some of that food. Well, now your step caved in and you're injured. Now what? You know, your food's running low, and can you make it out there? Maybe it's just a bruise and you can just kind of hobble around and do what you can, and maybe just check some traps or whatever. Maybe you can get through it. Great. But what happens if during that stumble where you fell, maybe your trusted firearm hit just right and it broke? Maybe something happened to where it is no longer useful. Maybe it's too dangerous to use now. Just throwing it out there. Is it going to happen? No, the chances of it's probably not. There's all sorts of things that I want you to think about, and it's pretty much impossible to war game every aspect of everything that can possibly go wrong. We can go into the weather side where we talked about that in one of the last videos. What about a lightning strike? Okay, you have a storm that's rolling in, you're getting ready for bed. Okay, you've been through countless storms. So you blow out the candle and check everything looks good, and you lay down. Well, an hour later, lightning strikes, and now your barn is on fire, or the tree just 50 feet from your house is on fire. What are you going to do about that? Do you have any sort of safe winds when it comes to this? Is there any precautions that you have taken? Yeah, that tree's really far away, but if the wind's blowing just right and it's carrying those embers, what around your house is flammable? What do you have that may go really, really bad? Remember, plan for the worst. The probability may be low, but it's not zero. And so we need to give it at least a little bit of thought, okay? You never know what's going to happen. And it's one of those things, too, that I've seen this over and over. I'm one of the people in the preparedness community. And so I need to worry about myself. My neighbor, I've gone over there and kind of chit chatted with them just to kind of, get a good feel, see where they are. Maybe you talk to them and they're just not into that. Maybe they're a younger person and they're just living by the seat of their pants. You wake up, it's a new day, I'll figure it out. They don't have enough food and water probably to get through the weekend, sort of thing. Maybe part of your preps is prepping for them. And I don't mean going through and having years worth of food and water and everything, but maybe buy them a smoke detector, an actual one that works. Maybe it's buying them a fire extinguisher. They probably don't have one, but now I at least know that there is some point of safety over there. Maybe they don't know how to use it. Maybe that's something that you can demonstrate and show them, but it's there. If you are doing something, all of a sudden you see smoke rising from their house, that puts your property, your house, and all the things that you have into question. And to be able to know that there is a fire extinguisher, a working fire extinguisher that you personally went over there and they have it in their possession, it gives you a tool. It is a strategically placed tool. Now, that goes for all sorts of things. I just pulled that out just to give an example. But it goes into all sorts of different things. Now we can get into the people doing bad things. People are an asset or a liability. And one of the wild cards is the mental factor. You can have somebody that you have known forever. You've trained, you've done things and all that. It takes one event for their mentality to change. Okay, you can get it to where you have gone through grueling training. You've gone out in the sleet and the mud at nighttime during the day. You've been exhausted. You've done all sorts of things. and you are as close to battle tested as you can be, you show them a starving child. Okay. Is any one of us mentally prepared for that? You show them somebody that they absolutely love and care about, like truly, truly. I mean, it might be a spouse, it might be a sibling, it might be, parents or child. You get that to where they are right there, right next to somebody, and they are taking their last breath. It changes people. You get all sorts of different things that's going to happen, whether it's visually, whether it's sound, whatever it is. You get somebody just themselves to the point of starvation, to where it is a high stress environment day in and day out, to where you don't know if you're going to get anything to eat or drink tomorrow, let alone if you're even going to make it through the night. It changes people's mentality. And during peacetime, you can trust that person with your life. They are right there. You change the aspect from getting out of peacetime, things change. Okay. And that's that wild card. You never know. And it can be anybody. It doesn't just have to be your best bud. It can be somebody's wife. It can be somebody's kid. It could be somebody's grandparent or whatever. You can have somebody, and it's sad to talk about, but hey, we're talking about the absolute ugly truth about SHTF. People's mental state changes, and sometimes it is a medical thing. Sometimes, and I'm sure quite a lot of you have experienced this, they'll slip into Alzheimer's, and they just mentally become a different person. Sometimes it's medically induced when it becomes lack of medication. You've known this person forever, and they're great, they're smart, they're funny, they're just an all around good person, as long as they have that chemical in their body. And when it's now forcibly denied, there's no more to get. What is that going to do to them mentally? Are they the same person? Are they going to suddenly just make silly mistakes, and it's something that you can kind of help them out? Is it something to where they may go off the deep end and they're a threat to themselves and others? What do you want to do about that? Are you prepared? Do you know about everybody that's going to be into your group? Do you know what their chemical dependencies are? It's perfectly legal right now. They go to a doctor. The doctor has diagnosed them with a condition. That doctor has given them the correct medication for that condition. And during times of peace, when that medication is available, they're going to live a life that is completely average and normal and whatever. And nobody will ever know. But during an SHTF situation, that all may change. How much do they have set back? Do they know how to maybe try and wean themselves off of it? It could be something as quickly. Maybe it's not something, because most of it, I would have to say, and granted, I am not a medical person, no medical advice or anything like that. Just FYI, but you will probably start seeing the different signs. People will slowly change. They'll get maybe a little bit more aggressive, or a little bit more confused, or maybe they'll have a little bit of mood swings or different things like that. And it'll just kind of build over time. And you can kind of, prepare for it a little bit. But what happens when somebody is fighting through it the best they can, and they appear pretty good, and then all of a sudden they just can't. It's the middle of the night, and they give up. I cannot do this anymore. And then boom, next morning they're a totally different person. So there's a lot of these aspects that I just want to get your mind thinking about. There's a lot of wild cards, and it doesn't matter what it is. You can talk about water all you want, and you can say that I have a bunch of water stored, I have rain collection, I've got a well, I've got a lake, I've got all this stuff, I've got water completely done. Okay, and the wild card is that there's some sort of chemical attack. Then what? Okay, now all that water is useless unless you have some really high tech fancy filtration. Uh, all that water is pretty much useless. And even if you do have some sort of really high advanced filtration device, That's a lot of filtering, and almost filtering nonstop in order to water your plants and water your animals. You know, you're not going to be able to use any sort of chemically laced water for anything, and even then, if it's in the water, it's going to go up into the rain. It's going to come down. It's going to go into the land, and it might make the land bad to where you can't grow crops anyway. Even if you can filter the water, you're not filtering the rain as it falls. So there's a bunch of wild cards. Some of them are going to be easy. You're just going to have to be able to identify them and have the working knowledge to be able to improvise or adapt to the situation. Other ones, you're going to be able to kind of see the signs and you're going to have time to start thinking about it. Other ones, it's going to be a snap decision. All of a sudden, it's just going to be a boom change, and you're just going to have to make a decision on the fly. And it might be a life or death decision. And it's going to be one of those ones that, uh, it's all going to come down to, who you are as a person. That's going to be one of the things. You can mentally train for a lot of things. Training is one of the ones that helps us and kind of guides us and whatnot. But it's different than an actual situation. You can make things as real world as you want, but the wild card is actually having that situation go on. And it doesn't matter what it is. I've seen people go through and do as real world of an active shooter situation as you can possibly do, but they will tell you, you know, I don't ever want to go through that actual situation. They've trained for it. There's a lot of people out there that do a lot of different trainings, but when it comes down to it, people freeze up. People act differently. It's a lot different of training and doing. There's a lot of people out there that's read a lot of books and they've gone out in peacetime and they're able to identify items for foraging. They know what certain mushrooms look like and what's edible and what's not. But suddenly take it to where it's real world and their decision on whether or not to eat that mushroom comes down to whether or not the people that is relying on their knowledge eat or not, whether they're going to survive. It suddenly makes you question yourself. It makes you second guess. It's all in what it is up here, especially for you. You can be the wild card as well. And the best thing you can do is train, so that way you have a higher trust in yourself. There's a lot more that we can go into this, but in the interest of time, we will kind of leave it there because I want to get the ball rolling. I don't want to sit here and spoon feed you and tell you you must do this. Prepping is a very personalized thing, and it's going to be different from every single person. There's a basic plan. You need to sleep, you need to eat, you need to drink. There's basics to it, but everybody's different and everybody has a different skill, a talent, different requirements, and other things. And uh, there's no one size fits all. It's all going to be on you and your plan and how well you can put that plan into action and the people that you choose now to surround yourself, the activities and the events and the different things that you are doing now to invest into your future kind of relies on it. Now, we hope that it never comes to that, but just in case, that decision where you go, do I watch this football game of two teams that I don't really care about, but I'm bored and, it's Saturday night, why not? Versus, you know what? Those 3 hours, I could probably pull up a YouTube video and learn a few new knots. Maybe you can do both of them together. Maybe you can multitask. You can do it. Maybe during commercials, you tie a few knots and whatnot, things like that. Maybe during halftime, you learn it and then you practice it in the second half. Maybe you can do that. Maybe it's time better spent with doing some training. Maybe it's time better spent going through your pantry. Maybe it's time spent of taking a little bit of time off, letting your brain relax a little bit. There's no right or wrong answer. The only way that you know if it is failure or success is when that time comes, when that SHTF happens, whether it's small scale or large scale, when it's said and done, did you survive? Okay. And if you can answer that, you're still good. Even if you have no more food or water left, if you can answer that, you're still alive and there's still a chance. There's still hope. There's still something you can do. It might be the most important day of your life on going, what am I going to do tomorrow? And get there and take it one day at a time. What you do now may push that out a lot more. The more food, the more water, the more skills that you can learn, the better trained you are, the higher chances, the higher the probability is that you're going to be just fine. So I hope you got some value out of that. I hope this comes away that you were happy to watch this. Let me know down in the comment section below. But I hope you guys have an amazing day. I hope you have a blessed day. Stay tuned because there's more information to come. And with that, remain united because we're all prepping in this together.